Just put your feet up. Relax.
Welcome back to the Bad for Education podcast. I'm Andrew Lee.
I'm Jason Yada.
This is the podcast where we teach you what's good for you and what's bad for education. Now, for those who are uninitiated, the Bad for Education podcast is more than about just coding tips and tricks. It's about shedding light on people who, do different things in life, walk different paths, kind of like what me and Jason did. We didn't go the traditional path of, finding that 9-to-5 job at, a doctor's office or being a lawyer or, whatnot. We did our own thing. And so to shed light on someone who went through the same trials and tribulations, we have Mymy Dinh here with us today. Hi, Mymy.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thanks.
It's great to have you on.
Yes. Thanks for being here with us today.
We appreciate you.
Very much.
Thanks again.
So, without, just to dive into it and without, you don't have to talk about the actual coding boot camp you went through yourself. Like, you don't have to drop any names or anything like that. How was that? Like, how did you come across and how did you make that decision to go onto the path of a software developer, coder?
Well, when I was looking for the boot camp to go to, it was the one that I went to was attached to a school, and I feel like that's why I chose it because I felt like I trusted it more, whatever that means. But the price of it was the same as any other boot camp, so I picked it solely based on the fact that it was connected to a school, and that was the only reason.
It had the brand recognition, brand recognition kind of thing.
It wasn't until later that I found out that it is not attached to a school at all, actually, and it's like a different entity.
They're using that name just to market to kids.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I think every school has the same boot camp too. I think it's one company for it.
And it just has different university names attached to it?
Mm-hmm, like Berkeley, maybe Long Beach, UCI. Yeah.
I don't like that. It's like a scam happening.
Kind of feels like it. Kind of.
Yeah. So what made you decide to join a boot camp? Or even go into coding?
Well, how old was I? 26, 27, around there. But I think I've always thought about going to a boot camp, but I wanted to go to Hack Reactor. And they had a prereq to get into it. And I was like, you know what? I don't know anything about coding. And I was like, I can't get into Hack Reactor. But when I was like, okay, well, let me learn more about coding. Well, why do I even want to go to Hack Reactor? What is coding? And I think when I dived more into it, I was like, you know what? I want to learn more about it. I want to learn how to code. But how I got to coding was MySpace.
Nice. I think that was everyone's first introduction, right?
That or Zynga.
Zynga, yeah.
But it's funny though, because with MySpace, I actually had a layout MySpace site thing where I would make a bunch of websites for people. Not websites, I guess.
Pages.
What are they called? Skins? Yeah. And I actually on MySpace had 60,000 friends on it, where I was just
Whoa.
yeah. And I remember I used to code something very specific into the code where I would know if another coding website stole mine because I would put my name I would integrate it into the code, and I would call them out on it. And why are you stealing my code for? I made this myself, but I actually stole it off somebody else too. Yeah, that was my first introduction, and I enjoyed it back then because it didn't feel like me staring at a screen for 6 hours when I was younger. It didn't feel mundane. It didn't feel like it was taking too much of my time. It was really fast. So I was just you know what? I want to keep doing this. It's fun.
And do you still feel that same passion today?
Yeah, I can still look at code for 8 hours. It doesn't bother me. Yeah. It just bothers me when I can't figure out what is wrong with the code.
Oh, that's the worst.
But then when I can figure it out, then it feels like, the 8 hours wasn't wasted. But if I can't figure it out for 8 hours, then it feels like it's wasted. Just staring at something that's not working.
Yeah. So what made you ultimately... So it was the name of the boot camp with that school behind it. That's kind of what made you choose it?
Yeah, because there was another boot camp that I was looking at. And this is when I was calling around, checking prices. And then one day I called this one specific boot camp, and then they're like, it didn't go to an answering machine or anything. It just didn't ring anymore, and the boot camp like shut down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh shit, like what if I paid money for that boot camp? Then that's why I was like, okay, I would rather go with a school that's attached to something, because at least my money is, I would know where it's going.
Yeah, like the school's not going to shut down.
Yeah,
halfway
because of
through the
funding
boot
or something.
camp.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So that was like my main concern, because I was like, it's not Hack Reactor, and it's just some little brand, and it got shut down. So I'm scared. It's a lot of money. It's expensive.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that along like the early 2010 eras or whatever. Like a lot of boot camps started popping up, and like it was really hard to kind of decipher what would be an actual good boot camp to sign up for, and what's an actual scam, or if they're actually just doing it to make money. Because like the boot camp I was originally supposed to go to before the one we went to, Jason, my friend, he went through it and he said it was really great. But then afterwards, they changed the curriculum. They changed the staff. It became all about money and stuff. And he was all like, Andrew, don't go to that boot camp anymore. Look at this other one. And then we came across the one that we went to. And I'm glad we went to that decision and went to that boot camp, because the one that I could have gone to, it looked miserable afterwards, and like it looked like they weren't really getting what they were paying for. So it's kind of hard, but you have to do a lot of research to really find out what's good.
Are we not name dropping? Is it
No, I don't.
that you guys don't do? Okay.
I mean, if you want to name drop yours, I don't think me and Jason are going to do ours. But feel free if you want to, but feel free, you don't have to.
It's literally only one boot camp that's attached to a school. So if you literally look up a boot camp attached to UCI, it's only one.
Okay.
But it's Trilogy.
Okay.
Trilogy.
Yeah, Trilogy.
boot
It's a
camp.
Trilogy company, yeah.
Okay.
That's
Gotcha.
behind it.
So we can let's start talking about like the admissions process. So like when we went our boot camp, we had to apply and do like a code assessment, like a challenge, kind of make sure that you can maybe try and do this. Did you guys have something like that?
Yeah, it was like an interview phone call. It just seems, I was skeptical of it, because it felt like they wanted you to feel like this was an elite thing and they weren't going to accept everyone. After actually being in a boot camp, it does seem like they accept everyone. But I think the question they asked me was like how do you make a PB&J sandwich or something? And
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Like
Something
code one?
It was
No.
like the one on the
Like code
phone.
virtual one, or?
No. Like I think he asked me that on the phone because he wanted to see like how my thought process worked for it. Like 2 pieces of bread and slap it together with some, jelly. But I think he wanted to like see what else I would say to it. Like, I used the right side of the bread and put this on it and with a knife. But then after we did that assessment, he was like, oh, like that was really good, blah, blah, blah. Let's go to the next step. So I think they did it to make you feel like important or something, like you should invest money in this now. That's what it felt like to me, at least.
Okay, so there wasn't actual code involved. It was just that
Like a
kind
logic.
of hypothetical, logical question about how would you build this peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Exactly.
I see.
Exactly.
So did you have to like actually code anything
No.
to get in? Oh, okay.
No. They gave us like a package thing where you can kind of like do some work, but it wasn't like coding yet. Maybe it touched JavaScript a little bit, but it was like nothing crazy at all.
I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like they should kind of toss into the deep end and be like, hey, this is what you're going to have potentially be seeing.
For sure.
So I don't know. I don't think that's a really good assessment.
Of course not. I mean,
Yeah.
like my cohort proved it, because some people in there were just like awful. Like it was just really hard for me to be proud of my cohort, which I've talked to you about as well, just because I felt like they didn't understand it. Like we spent the first 2 whole days setting up programs because people didn't know how to set up programs. And to me, that's like, if you can't even set up a program, how are you going to code?
Like set up as in like legit download the program and run it on your local machine or whatever.
Yeah, like MySQL. For some reason, it was so hard for people to download. And I was like, I couldn't process it.
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't process it, actually.
Considering like a typical boot camp's only a couple months, like 2 days out of those like several months or 3 months, or whatever, is a lot of time like wasted on something like that. So that's crazy.
Yeah. So I actually went to the cohort with one of my coworkers from Kicking Crab, and we literally sat there for 1.5 days, just like fucking around because can I say fucking?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not really a family friendly thing. We just do
Oh yeah, we're just fucking around because we're just waiting for everyone else to like catch up to us, and it was just downloading programs. It wasn't like we didn't even touch like HTML. It was just downloading MySQL.
So what
Node.
was like the first couple things you did in your boot camp? Do you remember what you did? Or what you learned? Like what languages?
Well, we only did JavaScript, but that wasn't until later. They started us off with like HTML first, and then they introduced CSS, and they probably started with one component for like a week, so it was like really slow. And then when we got to JavaScript, then it was like faster, like significantly faster. But then we did I think we also did ES6 a little bit, handlebar. We did a few things.
So your boot camp was it 12 weeks?
3 months. I don't know
so
how many weeks that
12
is.
12
weeks.
Yeah.
Like a 8 to 4, 9 to 5 kind of thing, 8 hours a day.
It was 9 to 3, I want to say. 9 to 3, I think.
A little on the shorter side.
So 6 hour like teaching days, instruction
Yeah,
days.
with like, I think it was like an hour lunch, 30-minute lunch. I don't know. I forgot.
Did you find yourself coming in earlier and like later? Like what were your days like?
I lived in Fullerton, so I had to leave early to get to the boot camp. But if we were going to code from like 6 or 9 to 3, I would come home before 5 and code until 11. And that was my 3 months. So I would basically look at code from 9 to 11 every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's pretty similar to ours. Our experience. Our days were a little longer.
A little bit. I think we're doing 8-hour days.
Instruction,
though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys were doing 8-hour days for a half a year? Or is
For 3 months.
For 3
Oh,
months.
Ours was
you
12
did it
weeks
3
as
months?
well.
Oh,
We did 3 months.
Okay, I thought you said half-time or part-time.
No.
I was
we're
like,
full-time.
I wish I would have done the part-time because I felt like it was a lot of information being like shoved in my brain too quickly to make like, for it to make sense, I think. I think it was just really rushed. So I wish I would have taken like more time with it. That would have been nice.
Do you remember the first thing you had to build? First project?
I think it was, we had to, project, like with the team?
Or just on your own? Just the first thing in your boot camp?
I think we had to build our own like portfolio, like front page but that was like really simple. But first team project, it was crazy because like, you know how cohorts are like all different types of people that just, want to code. Mm-hmm. We like had a guy that was like this crazy ass like scientist who already like has like a bunch of degrees and shit. And he just wanted to learn more. And our first project was like this face recognition thing because he was like, I already know how to do this, so let's just make another one. So we made this like face recognition program that was able to, I don't know, it was so crazy because we were not ready for that, the rest of us in the group. Because we were like, we just like learned JavaScript like 4 days ago. Like how are we going to make this face recognition thing? But it ended up working out. It was a really dope project.
That sounds really difficult now.
Yeah.
Versus just learning JavaScript.
Yeah, so it was a lot of learning on the spot. But we basically found a program that already does like face recognition. And then from there, we just like, honestly, it's a lot of reading of documentation. And then you just kind of plug everything together. Yeah. But I remember my struggles with it was reading documentation. Like, I feel like I had to read it like over and over and over again for it to like make sense. But yeah, I hate documentation.
I mean, that's one of the things you have to do on the job, I think, that is prepare you for a lot of reading because there's a lot of things you're not going to know, but having to sift through that information and find what you should be learning and how to apply it is part of the process of being a developer. So that's good that you prepared you for that. That's a good thing. But I don't really agree with the whole partnering up with like some, master's doctorate guy. I feel like the teacher should have been like, hey, this guy's kind of crazy. Like he should either be on his own and do his own project or like be with like, a smaller group or people who like
who
kind of knew. Cause it's like, it takes you guys to a different level, which you guys either can't catch up to at that time. And so you guys aren't learning at that time or, you know what I mean? It should have been on the instructors or schools, the impetus is on them to make it a better learning environment for the majority of people?
We were able to pick our own groups, and he was at our table, which is why we were like, let's just partner up with him.
Big mistake.
I know, yeah. Well, eventually, by the last project, we had 3 projects. He did work by himself on the last project because no one was able to work with him at the same level that he was on. Because by the 3rd level, he was building off the same like face recognition and like AI movements or whatever. So by the last one, he did like speaking wise. So like he would say something to the mic, and it would like translate it. But yeah. He was he was just crazy ass dude. Crazy ass dude.
So did you guys do any kind of? We did like a memory match game. We did a guessing game. Really basic stuff. Our first projects. Did you do anything like that?
I'm trying to remember like
a solo project besides your landing page that was mostly JavaScript oriented.
Projects. We only did team projects, group projects.
Okay.
But homework, we did a lot of those types of homework.
Okay.
Yeah, like tic-tac-toes and
Yeah.
random number generator with things like that. Yeah, we did all that too.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it was like a lot of learning on your own too. Like he didn't show us how to do it. He kind of just said do it. And then we go home and we figure it out. And then if you can't figure it out, then
You're SOL.
yeah. But it's not really graded either, so it's like you have to want to learn. And the TAs refer you back to documentation.
So unhelpful. Just read it.
Honestly,
read it.
I love a TA. I love my TAs. They're also my friends.
We'll cut off later. If you have some shit to talk about, we'll talk about that shit later.
Yeah, it was just like the TAs are students, prior students too. So like, I'm sure they were learning it too,
Yeah.
Or they didn't get a job in it, which is why they're TAing. But yeah.
So do you remember how much time you spent on HTML, on CSS, and on JavaScript?
I want to say HTML was probably like a week. CSS maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks, something not long. And then everything else was like introduction to JavaScript and yeah. And then more. I think we did React only for. It didn't feel long. I felt like we just like grazed over React maybe like a week. It feels like 2 weeks maybe. I don't even know.
It was like a week or 2 for React for us too, though, right? Like 2 weeks for React?
It was at the end of your.
Ours was the whole second half.
Was the whole second half React?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How come I don't remember this? Maybe I just tried to block out the pain. There was a lot of pain throughout the entire process, so maybe I was just trying to block it out. But was it the full half?
Yeah. It was once we switched over to the other side, that's when we started our React.
Oh shit, you're right.
The last 6 weeks.
Yeah, you're right. Man, that's crazy. It didn't feel very long. So 2 weeks must be a lot quicker than.
I feel like it
really
probably
quick.
didn't feel long because we only learned React for 3 weeks, and then we had 3 weeks for our final project.
Exactly.
So it was like, yeah, we were on our own for the last 3 weeks, kind of in a sense.
Interesting.
Yeah. So what other tech did you learn besides React, JavaScript, HTML, CSS?
We did MySQL. We did. I forgot what else.
Did you do like Node?
Oh yeah. We did Node.
Node. So you did full stack.
Yeah, we did full stack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any
I don't know,
like
thinking on
GraphQL?
it. I think we touched it a little bit. Yeah. I think I blacked out too. 'Cause I don't remember that either.
It goes by in a flash, for sure.
Or maybe it's because like I feel like that wasn't my interest point. So I was kind of like, I'll just learn it because I have to, but I know that's not where I want to be learning more or like in that job field with the back end anyways. So I was like, okay, I'll just do it.
You were good towards front end.
Yeah. I wanted to go. I knew that I wanted to do front end, but it was full stack, I guess.
And you're very design oriented, right?
Yeah. I do a lot of design.
Cool.
Are you developing currently right now? Are you at for like career-wise, are you in developing?
I do side projects. So I do a lot of side projects, but I don't think it's like where I want to be because I do a lot of like CMS work. And they're fun, they're easy, and they make money. So I like it.
What's your favorite CMS?
I like Squarespace because I just think visually it just looks great.
It's very user-friendly too. I like Squarespace.
Yeah. It just looks great, but it does look very like like you would know what is built with Squarespace. They all kind of have the same vibe to it,
Okay.
same feel.
Pretty cookie cutter.
I just did one on Wix not too long ago, and that was like probably the easiest CMS I've ever used in my life. Like it was just like plug and play, like plug and play. So it's kind of weird that like they would even need like somebody to help build it for them because it was just so easy. They could have done it themselves.
Are they older people that you were working with? Like
These
with
are
clients?
these were older people. These are like, it was a dentist, so they're old people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you prefer to use a CMS over React or something like that?
I mean, I haven't coded in like a long time, so personally, I feel like I would like it more just because it's more customizable. I can do like exactly what I want instead of trying to like figure out how to hack something to work. Because on
Yeah.
Squarespace, you have to like hack it, pretty much.
Can you actually put in your own code?
You
in
can
Squarespace?
overwrite stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
you can overwrite stuff by putting like exclamation point.
Not important.
Importance
Let's go.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Something they tell you not to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Newsflash, don't do
Yeah,
it
don't
if you
do
can
it.
avoid it. Yeah, don't do
I
it.
think on Squarespace.
Yeah.
Important.
So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool that you can actually code your, like, so if you know code, you
Yeah.
can manipulate it. That's cool. I like that. Have you ever used Webflow?
I have. Yeah, I think one of my first projects I used Webflow. I like Webflow a lot more than all of them, actually, but I haven't had a client using it because usually they go towards like the bigger brand, I guess. Brands that they know.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but I would love to do one project on Webflow for a client.
That one is super, like, you actually have to know
design.
CSS
Yeah, and design.
to use. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've seen a lot of their templates and they look like I would never tell that was a template. They look great.
There's some CSS monsters out there, so that's nuts.
There are.
Yeah. I wish I was better at it, to be honest.
CSS?
Yeah.
It's an
Yeah, there's some
art.
crazy shit you can do with it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
We had one of the groups of my boot camp, they actually made this like game with just CSS, but it's like a bottle. Like, so the premise of their like project was like throwing like a bottle in the ocean, and then you can click on a bottle and it'll give you like a little random note, and you can like make your own note and throw it out in the ocean. But like they made it all. It
Oh,
was
that's
amazing.
cool. I like that.
And they would make like little clouds that are like, less opaque, more opaque, floating. But it was really cool.
That's awesome. They actually made the like images in CSS. That's cool.
Yeah, they like made all the sizes and shapes and stuff.
Have you seen that
Yeah, they
one
were stressed though.
with-
They were
with
stressed.
the Mona Lisa?
Sure.
The one with the Mona Lisa, and it's like all CSS,
No.
like Mona Lisa or whatever, or some shit like that. It was nuts.
Crazy.
Yeah, like hours on it, but it's crazy.
Creating shapes on it and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some CSS wizards for sure. So, do you feel like you graduated from your boot camp? Mm-hmm. Do you feel like it prepared you? Like, did you feel? I don't want to say you felt prepared because I don't think any of us really felt prepared afterwards.
No. Hell no, we didn't feel prepared.
But I guess when you got your first development job, did you feel like you had the skills to succeed?
No, I feel like I feel like I still have like imposter syndrome. I still feel like when I pick up projects, like, can I even do it, or am I capable of doing it? But then I do it and it's fine. But I think it's just, I don't think I am prepared or anything because of the boot camp. I don't think it really helped me actually. But I feel like because of the boot camp, I know coding more because I feel like if I self-taught myself, I wouldn't have got to the point of learning what I did.
So it gave you at least a good roadmap to go along.
Yeah, and the push because it was so expensive. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't want my money to go to waste. So
Right.
I spent the 8 hours studying it and shit.
Yeah, that's a big motivator.
It is, yeah. Because even right now, I still feel like I because I buy courses on Udemy just to like learn more, and it's hard for me to like go on it every day to like learn a little bit because I'm just like it's not $12,000, I don't have to relearn it. So it was a good motivator.
If you could go back in time, I guess, then would you have chosen a different camp to go to? Or did you, overall enjoy your experience?
I would probably, I don't know. I would have probably wanted to go to another boot camp or a different cohort.
Okay.
I think either of those could potentially have been better.
Sometimes like the group actually makes a difference to, the learning environment. If you're like with the cool people, if you're like some whack people. I mean, there were some whack people in our cohort too, right?
Yeah.
Some snobby people, some people like, I'm too good for this, I'm blah, 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 blah. You know, or they're just there just for like that one guy you're talking about, just to have fun with it.
Yeah, to learn
You know,
more.
and it's like, they're not really as invested. Like for us, it's like, this is the new career step. For them, it's like, I'm just having a good time. So it
Yeah.
kind of makes or breaks a cohort, I feel.
We got lucky.
We got really
Ours
lucky.
was awesome for the most
Yeah.
part.
I know,
Hell yeah,
you
it
always
was.
say that too, and I get so jealous.
Yeah, ours was rad. Even like so did you guys do hackathons in there?
No.
Okay. It's
No,
like
we
we
didn't.
did 2,
Yeah.
and it's
That
like, you
sounds
know,
fun.
you have a day and a half or 2 days to do an entire project with your team, and we actually got paired up twice.
Oh, randomly?
Well, yeah, we
picks
didn't
it?
we didn't pick the teams. The instructors did.
I told the instructor, I was like, I want to boycott that guy over there. I like him. I like him a lot. No, it was random though, and it was luckily we were able to actually connect with everybody there. Like,
See how everyone's mind works.
see everyone's mind works, and like just get to know them on a more personal level. I go to their houses and stuff, and like just work on it from like, you know, 6 p.m. to like 12 a.m. I think Jason stayed over the night at one point too, at one of our projects. So it's like you go to the ringer together and you build that kind of bond. It's like, it's almost like war in a sense, or like the Marines or something like that. It's like we went through this struggle together, and we all came out of it alive and, you know, better for it. But like, you know, only people that have been through it will know. And so it's crazy.
Yeah, I think the way the instructors matched our teams was cool too, because I noticed there was like 1 or 2 teams that were like the 3 smartest people in the class, and he would put them together because he wanted to challenge them and see like what they could come up with. And then he would have another one where it was like maybe the 3 worst people in the class, and they're just maybe kind of falling behind. He would put them together and see, and they can kind of help each other. And then they'd have other people that were kind of in the middle, like I think we were, and he would kind of pair it with like there are 3 or 4 people on the team, like kind of levels, like good, okay, not so good, bad, or something like that.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a good range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I
So
wish we had to do that.
Exactly. So we weren't caught off our pants like with that one guy who's like just way above. Like
Yeah.
if we had that, it probably would have been a little bit discouraging
Yeah.
in some ways too, I think, for us, you know?
Well, actually, working with that guy was probably my favorite project because
Really?
it made us it made me have to reach outside of my circle to learn more. One, documentation, right? But I also have like friends and family that are developers already, or one of my cousin works for Amazon. So I use them as like tools, which I don't normally talk to them about coding and stuff, but I would reach out to them and be like, hey, I'm really stuck. Like, I need help. And then they would, without telling me what to do, kind of guide me. So my cousin like guided me like, okay, well, you're reading documentation, but like, are you like reading it? Like, cause I can see it like right here. And so he would kind of be like, oh, like look at this part and then read this part again. Make sure you're like actually reading this part. And then like one day just like, it all made sense. And then I was like, why did I waste so much time? It all makes sense now. I understand documentation. So I feel like because working with him made me use more tools and made the project feel more like it wasn't just like a weekend project. It felt like a project. Like I was gonna be graded with my life on it or something.
My life is on the line for this project.
It felt like it. But it was fun. I didn't work at all the 3 months of the boot camp either. I couldn't work anymore at my other jobs.
Did you feel like it kind of affected some relationships you had at the time? Like, I don't know what your situation is now. I don't want to dive too deep into it if you don't want to, but, you know, during the boot camp, was it kind of hard or rigorous to maintain maybe dating or like having time with your friends or something like that? Was it difficult for you?
No. Everything was pretty normal. I had a significant other back then that was very understanding of how I spent my time. So it was fine. Nothing was, and I think it was like during Coachella week too. So I went to Coachella while doing the boot camp. So I still lived normally.
Oh, I remember Coachella. I was like about to do it too, and I was like, I can't. I'm only here for like 3 months. I just can't do it. Even if it's for Ariana Grande, I just can't do it.
I know.
So
it was worth it.
Was it worth it? Whatever.
I only missed one day of class.
So changing gears, what do you do now? What's your job?
I have multiple jobs, which are none of them are developing, but I do social media management. I work in a restaurant still. I do makeup on the weekends and freelance guest development on the
Wow.
side.
Like a Jill of all trades.
Oh, it's California living, right?
Yeah.
You have to.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
I have a very expensive living habit, so I have to be able to afford it.
Louis bags and all that stuff.
A drinking problem. I have to be able to afford it.
That can get expensive.
Yeah, but I mean, I do still want to find more of a development job, but haven't really been actively looking. So
do you want to get back into like front end development or front end design?
I don't know because I don't know what I want to do. I think every time I think I know what I want to do, and then I play around with it a little more, and then I realize I don't want to do it anymore. But I do feel like I want to do front end, probably just development, probably.
Okay, more.
Design, I feel design because I already have like imposter syndrome, but I feel like with like design, I have even more of it because I didn't like go to school for it or whatever. So like, I do feel like I don't know what I'm doing.
I mean, I've seen your social media stuff.
I've seen it too.
It looks great.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's
Thanks,
awesome.
man.
You're a great designer.
Thanks. I still have imposter syndrome though.
We all do. I don't think it ever goes away.
No.
Does it?
It doesn't.
No, it never does.
Our instructor, he's like in his late 40s, and he's been doing it for over 30 years. He has imposter syndrome still.
Do you feel like it's because like technology is always changing, so it never feels like you know enough because it was always changing? Do you think that's why?
I feel it's more like we learn all this stuff, and it feels like we can put it together, but it's like we learn so quickly. And how did we learn so quickly? It feels like it's impossible to learn something so quickly and be proficient at it. So we're always thinking in the back of our head, like, am I that good at it as people say I am? Like,
Yeah.
but then again, at the end of the day, you're hired for a certain job, and you're making a living doing that job. So you have to be kind of competent to be able to do it. So it's a back and forth thing.
I asked that because like I've been doing makeup for 6 years now professionally, and I eventually reached a point where I don't have imposter syndrome. Like I know my abilities and like I know my price. And now I feel like when I do jobs, this is like what my rates are. This is my price, and I'm not going to change it. And I don't feel that feeling, that imposter feeling that I get with development, where I feel like, ooh, this is going to be hard, or like, am I even capable of like coding this out? So I don't know. But then again, like makeup, I guess doesn't change a lot because it's like, it's not like technology that's constantly being like, used. So the makeup stays the same. People's faces are the same. There's only like 5 face shapes,
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, plus you've been doing that for so long too.
6 years? Yeah, I wonder. Well, hopefully in 6 years I won't feel that way with development.
You won't.
You don't think so? You said 30 years for your teacher.
Yeah.
It depends on the person. I don't know. He's really good too, so I'm surprised he still had it. So
he's fantastic.
He's fantastic.
It might be more of a confidence thing too, like
Might
a
be.
self-confidence thing. Because I definitely have imposter syndrome coding for sure, just because I know there's so many more people out there that are better than me. But like, I don't know. I've been playing guitar my whole life, and I feel like I'm pretty good. I know there's people a lot better than me, but I don't have imposter syndrome
Exactly.
anymore.
Yeah, things like that. Or do you feel like if we, or I guess in your case, because this is your first development job, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like if you had like a senior, you wouldn't feel so like imposter syndrome? Like you had somebody like higher up helping you along the way?
I feel more confident for sure. Yeah, definitely. I'd probably still have imposter syndrome, but I would for sure feel more confident in my skills, and where I was going.
It's kind of like seeing somebody like yourself 10 years down the line, like, oh, this guy made it and he's doing really well, so I can kind of roadmap myself with that mentorship if you did have a senior. Whereas if you're working in a company and you're the only sole developer, it's kind of like, who do I turn to?
Stack
you look in the mirror.
Overflow.
Oh, me. I have to turn to myself.
Yeah.
Stack Overflow.
Yeah.
Ah, that's crazy. And what kind of projects have you been working on? Just
like freelance projects.
Yeah.
I have like friends. Well, I don't know if I'm supposed to say it, but
Oh, okay.
there's like a agency that sometimes just needs like a quick developer because he's like busy selling a lot of stuff. So then I'll just help him out and like making websites for him.
Cool.
Yeah. So without the commitment of working under him.
Yeah.
I just get the side projects.
Yeah, that's
And
smart.
then friends and stuff. But other than that, yeah.
Did your boot camp, coming back to boot camps, did it offer any kind of job assistance placement?
They did. Yeah. So the last week of it, they did. Why didn't I get help from them?
Do you just not?
Oh, you know what? It was
just
like
give up and not ask them anymore.
well, yeah, it actually called me a lot. But it was, I think I have such bad imposter syndrome. I couldn't even look for a job out of boot camp because I felt like the more I knew, the more I felt like I didn't know. And because of that, I couldn't look for jobs because I was like, I'm not like where I want to be in order to apply to these jobs comfortably and know that I would be a good asset to them.
It's a vicious cycle.
It is, yeah.
It's like I don't think I am, so let me go back to it. But then like I'm not really as motivated out of the boot camp to continue doing it. So like it's kind of like everything's kind of almost diminishing at the same time, right? It feels that way, but it's not, because at the end of the day, it's like you got to go out there and put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Kind of like dating in general. Like you like me or you not. Or,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then once you're out there, and like, am I get hired or not? And then it's up to them as like the business owner to see your worth in that position. So
Yeah.
it's really a gamble at the same time too. You just got to put yourself out there.
It really is.
What do you think, Jason?
Yeah, I agree with you, man.
Ditto.
Yeah,
I agree. But yeah, no, it's just like also like when they were having us like interview for places and stuff, there were things that they always mention, like if you read the requirements, if you at least hit 3 of them, apply. If you hit 3, apply. If you hit 3, apply. If it says 5 years, but you meet the other requirements, just apply. And I couldn't do that because I would look at it and I'd be like, but I only have less than 1 year experience of JavaScript. Like this one says 3 years. Like they're gonna know. They're gonna freaking know. So then I wouldn't apply.
it's a good point. I see that all the time where like I'll have every qualification except for 5+ years or 6 years, and I can't tell what they're looking for. Like it looks like they're looking for someone of like our skills, but they didn't want someone that's a senior level.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll apply now, but when I was first looking, the same thing, I wasn't applying. So I was like, what if I get on the job and
They
like,
expect 5 years with experience.
Yeah, what if I actually land this job and then I get hired and I can't do it? You know, like I don't want to get fired.
Yeah.
So I get that.
That's hard because sometimes there's so new technologies and frameworks. It's like there was this one interview question where like they try to say like, oh, we need 16 years of a certain framework, but it's like that framework's only been out for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, how are you gonna want that? Like you guys are nuts. Like this is stupid. Like some HR person just made some bullshit and just threw it on there and like asked for it. So sometimes maybe you should just apply for it anyways and see what happens.
Yeah, I've gotten tons of interviews from people from companies that had the whole 5-10 years experience, but the job description was like, okay, this is in my lane, I can do this. And then once I talk to the people, that's what they're actually they're not looking for a senior, they're actually looking for us. So yeah, it is good to apply. And I don't know, they're not really looking for that much experience.
So scary to apply.
So for yourself, do you still maintain that network with the people from UCI or Trilogy? With Trilogy, do you still talk to them, and do they still kind of reach out to you and help you out? Do you feel like it's been helping, like for long term, for jobs and stuff? Are they still
like the school or the cohort?
The cohort or school, or the school? Because for our school, we had somebody on staff that would help us with that kind of stuff, like a job career coordinator person.
I think they like helped me for like a bit, and then they stopped because like they have like new cohorts and stuff like that. But I don't know. I forgot the time frame of it. I want to say a couple months after. Yeah, a couple months after. And then the phone calls got less frequent. But it did help with like resume work and stuff like that. I just think I wasn't like, I think I knew that I wasn't going to be actively applying because of my skills. So I wasn't taking her or the person's like more helpful. Is that? Like I wasn't asking for more. Okay. Well, I could have though. I definitely could have.
Gotcha.
They were, that's like definitely important to them was us getting jobs.
That's good. So, that's very important for a boot camp to have too. Important. Like they have to be trying to help you actively as well. So that's good. Yeah,
it was good though. I mean, it was fun. Our instructor was like amazing. He was an amazing dude.
Have you heard of a lot of people in your cohort? Did they go on to get jobs pretty soon, like development jobs? Okay, yeah. Awesome.
A lot of them did. Actually, I don't know. I can't say a lot because I don't know, but I know some people that did.
Okay.
But then I also know some people that just didn't as well, like didn't want to or something or couldn't. So.
Okay.
I think it depends on the individual and their own network.
That happens a lot, and it's one of the things I kind of like about boot camps. It's like it's expensive, but like the time ratio towards it. It's like I'm only spending 3 months of my life on this. So if I decide I don't like it, it's only 3 months of my life, even though it's expensive, but you get kind of like, you get more life value out of it.
Yeah.
So for those people, it's like, I got to test it.
Didn't work
Didn't work out, but
that's okay.
It's
Yeah.
okay. I'll move on and go back to my old job
Yeah.
that I actually liked. I learned I liked my old job, or take these new skills and do something else.
Yeah.
Like my friend, he was a headhunter before, and he wanted like a tech headhunter. He did the whole coding boot camp, couldn't get a job, went back and just like got promoted up, just doing like he's better with communicating, getting people roles as a headhunter again because he understands the industry more. So it's just like it helps out no matter what.
That's true. That's a good way to look at it.
So do you have any words of advice for people that are thinking about going to a boot camp?
Yes, tell us.
I think my only advice would be what you put in is what you get out of it. If you're not gonna code out, like if you're just gonna go to school just to go to school, not do the homework, not do the coding every night, it's gonna not do anything for you. You're not gonna get to fully immerse in like the fun of the 3 months, the thrill of it,
The thrill of it all.
the thrill of it all. So I mean, I think that's just an important thing for anything though. You just gotta put 100% in things that you want.
Do you think passion is a main factor too?
Oh, yeah.
If
For
you weren't
coding?
passionate about it,
Oh yeah, you can't stare at code for 10 hours and not be passionate about it. you
Yeah.
know? that would get really tiring really quickly, really quickly. But yeah, I think you would have. But it's only 3 months. You're right. You know what? I've always thought about like, because when I think back of my coding days or my bootcamp days, I'm like, man, that shit was like 12 grand. That was really expensive. If I don't like it, I'm out 12 grand. But I kept thinking it in that way, but not. It's only 3 months
Yeah.
of my life.
time is more valuable to me than any commodity in the
Yeah.
world because we only have so much time in the world to do anything.
It's true. You're right.
So money doesn't matter to me. Not that money doesn't matter to me. I
Okay.
love money.
Okay.
I'm not saying like, please pay me for if anyone else would like hire me for anything. Please pay me. But it's just a drop in the bucket compared to everything that life has to offer.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, don't think of it as a waste. Even if you decide not to, think of it as like a learning experience. As much everything life really is.
And it's not like, people that go to school for, I don't know, pharmacy and they're in school for like butt fuck 10 years and then decide, you know what?
Dude, imagine
I
that.
don't want to do this anymore.
Imagine 10 years down the line.
With 100,000 grand plus. So,
That's
yeah.
fucking nuts. Now that's crazy to me. That would
And not finding passion in it.
yeah, that would irk me.
I feel like at that point when you're 200-300 grand deep in debt, you have to do that.
You just have to do it.
now.
Like
yeah.
you could hate it, but it doesn't matter.
This is
'cause
my life
You
now.
have to do
Yeah.
it. Like,
It's a lot of money.
yeah.
For sure.
Cool. And so I guess any last tips you want to give, for future people that you were thinking about? If they were thinking about listening to this podcast right now and they're like, boot camp stuff, or was there any things that you kind of looking out for, or they should be aware of, going into applying for a boot camp, in your opinion?
Applying for a boot camp?
Yeah.
Honestly, research the school would probably be the most important thing.
Hell yeah.
And not just like researching the school, but one of the things I should have done was find graduates from that school and see what they're doing. Like, are they in the field or like did they not do anything with it? So I should have done more research with that so that I could see like what people are doing after the boot camp and find boot camps with big names,
That's
not names that will get shut down.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
12,000
It's 12,000 people at least minimum.
at least.
Some of them even like Hack Reactor.
I was gonna
They're
say half is much more, right?
it's like 20 now or something. It was 18 to 20.
That's
I don't
that's
know.
a 4-year college.
It's a 4-year college. And the thing is with Hack Reactor, it was you have to at least have a computer science degree kind of thing. You have to be at least a junior developer to make it into the program. So it was
Yeah.
weird.
They're prereqs, right?
Those are prereqs. They're
Yeah.
really rigorous. But they guaranteed like occupation within 3 months afterwards.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But that was like when I was doing the boot camp, that was the one thing that made me not like I was thinking about doing a boot camp for so long because that's the only thing on my mind was like, I'm gonna pay this much money. Am I guaranteed a job after? Like, am I gonna like it? Am I gonna get a job? Am I gonna get a job? But then when I started doing the boot camp, that wasn't on my mind anymore, getting a job. It was more like, I just want to learn. I just need to learn now. I don't know enough. So my mindset definitely shifted from like, will this boot camp provide me a job to, am I good enough for this job kind of thing.
Yeah. That's a good point. I felt the same way, actually.
About the getting a job after boot camp.
Yeah, I
that's
mean-
such an investment,
It's a struggle. It's a huge leap of faith. Because going to a 4-year college, you kind of know what you're going to get out of it, and the expectations like when you finish. But at least for boot camps were new for me. I didn't know anything about trade schools, so it was like, okay, I'm gonna spend
Yeah.
a lot of money and try this, and it might not work.
Yeah.
Speaking of trade schools, we did have a debate and conversation in a previous cast about trade schools versus college. Check that out if you haven't.
Yeah, we did.
Just have to throw that in there. Yeah. Cool.
Times are different. Trade schools are,
It's
valuable.
It's valuable
so
now.
valuable. So valuable compared to a 4-year college,
People aren't spending 30 years at a industry anymore. They're switching out now. Kids, millennials and beyond, Gen Zers or whatever, they're doing different things now.
Yeah.
They don't want to stay stuck. So yeah, it's shifting definitely.
You can be a TikTok star now. and make
I
so
mean,
much
do
money.
people want to see me dance?
I do.
Yeah.
Do you?
Right now.
All right, I'm gonna sign up for it right after this episode. Cool. But anyway, well, thanks for being on the cast today, Mymy. We really appreciate the insight
Thank
for
you.
the boot camp and whatnot. I mean, if people are looking and they want to reach out to you, do you want to leave them any social media stuff, maybe for makeup and stuff, to contact you with anything, or social media stuff, or CMS web stuff, anything, any
Like
social
my
links?
handle?
Like your handle,
Where can
yeah.
people find you?
Or they can find you.
I'm
If you don't want to, you don't
I'm
have
on
to.
Instagram, garlic nudes,
How do you spell that?
GarlicNoodz
With the Z.
with the Z. Nudes.
Cool. And you can find Bad for Education Podcast at Bad for Education Podcast on Instagram, or Bad for EDU Pod on Twitter. And you can email us at badforeducationpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, sir.
Wow, it's a mouthful.
It is.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to say.
I can see you thinking about it.
I have to think about it every time we do this. It's always original. But anyway, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Peace.